This is an Audio Wool original.
All right, guys, Byron here. I just got done editing this episode, and I was like, you know what? I had too much fun with this to keep it behind a paywall. So Kelly is, she just got out of a minor procedure, minimally invasive surgery, and she won't probably know that I'm doing this, so this is good. Right now, she's sending me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 GIF images of Zachary Baggins via text message. I think she's doing just fine, folks. But yeah, so this is an example of what you get when you become a member of the Frightday Society. This is a free preview of the content that you could get when you join at cult.frightday.com. You get access to a second episode every week, Behind the Screams, as well as a whole bunch of other stuff. Kelly's Cryptids and Conspiracies, Byron's Serial Corner, etc. You've heard me say it. If you have any interest in supporting our show, that would be great, and you can do it there. It would mean a lot. And you would get to go to Camp Frightday for free, camp.frightday.com. So enjoy this preview, future and current society members. What was that?
Did we talk last week about the mystery flavor for Airheads?
No.
Okay.
Is that where you're saving it for a show? Mm-hmm. Jesus Christ. We'll get
So, no.
No, this is
No, wait.
Behind the Screams, the show behind the show.
I've always wondered why mystery flavor exists. I've been asking people recently, like, hey, do you think all mystery flavors are the same flavor?
I actually think I know what it means.
Or do you think that they change it up sometimes?
You're cleaning out the machine. It's the dum-dum theory.
It is. It's whatever flavor's left.
Really?
But here's the kicker. If you are, slightly concerned about your kids'
Allergies.
ingestion of like red number 40 or other dyes, basically a mystery airhead is just whatever flavor's left without the artificial dye put into it. So it's the best of the unhealthiness of airheads. Mystery flavor is going to be the safest to give to
Sounds
kids.
like a conspiracy.
Well.
Welcome to Behind the Screams, a show by show.
Yeah?
It's been a long day.
You okay?
I am. What?
Is there something else I can help with?
Sorry, my watch is talking to me. So last Tuesday, several hundred believers of the far-right conspiracy theory QAnon made their way to Dallas, Texas. And Kelly, this was your idea to do for the show.
It was because my news headlines, my Google News headlines in the morning have gradually curated to being an interesting mix of like meaningless pop media, some politics, a lot of information about Bigfoot and aliens, and now also some Q stuff. And so last week when I was getting in the car to go see Andrea Bocelli, I had this article pop up. And so I was stopping at my parents' house to pick up my mom for the concert. And I said, Dad, you got to hear this story. And I told him, and he looked at me and he goes, no, that's not real. I was like, no, Dad, really? And then I quickly sent him the article to read so that he could read it. It ended up being a huge topic of discussion for the next 2 days. So.
You ever been to Dallas, Texas?
No.
These Q folks showed up there not for the Tex-Mex, not to buy large cowboy hats.
You remember that I have a piece of the grassy knoll dirt?
You do. Yeah. And that's kind of why they were there. They were there to be present when John F. Kennedy Jr. would appear, announcing the reinstatement of Donald John Trump as the President of the United States of America, possibly proclaiming himself the new VP, because Pence is obviously out after
What happened to King of Kings? I thought he...
Well, that's also possible. Or maybe it was the other way around. Him being the president, Trump not being the VP, but being the King of Kings, and then General Michael Flynn, Q-adjacent, disgraced gentleman, stepping in as VP, which is still rumored to be Trump's possible running mate in 2024. I mean, at least Roger Stone is pushing for that. But either way, these folks gathered mainly at Dealey Plaza, which is sometimes called the birthplace of Dallas, as well as the location of the assassination of President John F. Kennedy in 1963. Conspiracy theorists desperate for a drop of Q.
Oh, Lord.
The well's been running increasingly dry since January 6th.
Well, yeah, Watkins is busy. He's got other stuff to do.
Running for Congress. Mm-hmm. They gathered at the grassy knoll, carrying banners, wearing their beliefs on patriotic colored shirts and hats, Trump Kennedy 2020, where we go one, we go all.
Can we talk for a second about
Woke
this?
with a Q instead of an O.
Oh Lord! Did
pretty
you
fun.
notice the list of states that were mentioned in the article? They only mentioned four states.
You keep saying the article. There has been dozens.
Sorry,
of
I know, the one that I sent you.
Yeah.
4 states were listed: California, Florida, New York, and
Of course, Montana.
Montana.
Well, yeah.
we win.
I mean, I was there because I believe all this.
Uh-huh.
So they all gathered, grassy knoll, waiting for 11:45 or 12:30 or another time. Surely JFK Jr. would be there any moment.
It is almost 12:29. Any minute now. The big reveal. The crowd is big. Ready to
Weird
go.
thing is, of course, he's deceased.
But Byron, can we talk about this? Because at this point, I know you said you didn't research this, you couldn't find stuff on it necessarily, but I'm very confused by the idea that some articles say JFK Jr., other articles say JFK
Senior.
and JFK
Oh,
Jr.
yeah, bringing his papa back, too, which how old would he be? Over 100 at this point.
I think over 100. Hold on.
Do you want to talk about reality real quick, though, while you're doing that?
104.
104. So, I mean, he could have been alive. I don't know. He was in pretty poor health, though. If you go back to our
Rough
JFK
back.
series, remember, his liver would be toast from all the pain
Rough
medicine
back,
he was
lots
taking.
of pain medicine, probably a whole lot of STDs.
STDs. I knew you were going to say it.
Yeah.
July 16th, 1999. John F. Kennedy Jr., son of the 35th president, People magazine's 1988 Sexiest Man Alive, as well as his wife Carolyn and her sister Lauren, were flying from Essex County Airport, New Jersey, headed for Martha's Vineyard Airport, but they never made it.
Good evening. A dark day for America. John F. Kennedy Jr., his wife Carolyn, and her sister Lauren Bissett still are missing tonight. And it does now seem certain that they went down in the crash of a single-engine plane that Kennedy was flying last night. As that news spread across America throughout the day, there was a common reaction. This is unbelievable. That family truly is cursed.
The Piper Saratoga single-engine plane that Kennedy was piloting crashed into the Atlantic Ocean near Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts. After an investigation, it was determined that Kennedy fell victim to something called spatial disorientation when he was descending over water that night and lost control of his plane. Basically, he didn't know his altitude, speed, or the relation to the ground or the water, and he crashed.
Shit.
Well, yeah, but some QAnon believers, and I do want to be fair, most of them don't subscribe to this idea.
How do we know that?
Listen, Kelly, QAnon again, sprawling conspiracy theory with lots of tentacles, and some people believe certain things, others don't. Most of them do not believe in the JFK faked his death thing.
JFK Jr.
I appreciate that. And that he, for 22 years, has been hiding out somewhere, maybe Pennsylvania, waiting for the perfect time to reappear, change political parties, and save the world from a cabal of satanic, cannibalistic pedophiles. Which I'm having trouble categorizing QAnon believers just as people saving the world from a cabal of satanic, cannibalistic pedophiles. I think it's kind of overly simplistic.
I think that every Q believer that I know believes some tangent of that. Now, here's the thing that I
think
would
it's
distinguish.
It's kind of reductive. I think
Well-
it's the same as saying like ivermectin is horse paste. I think it's just a talking point that doesn't do much for.
Okay, but here's what I would argue, and this is what I was discussing a lot this weekend with people when we were going over this weird JFK Jr. Dallas Trump King of Kings situation. A lot of people who believe Q ideas don't even necessarily identify them as Q because it's this ripple effect, right?
Yeah.
So like
The
we've got
memes
this
spread out.
I was trying to explain that like if you know somebody who's sending you articles about like magnetized bodies from vaccines, they may not even think that it has anything to do with Q, but that's where that information came from.
where
Was
it
this
started.
crazy core of horse shit, and outward from that spreads just death and destruction. This is part of the core. So I think there are people who would not identify as the core,
Sure, but they still have those tangential
but
beliefs.
still have the tangential beliefs.
Yeah. Well, like any
Fuck all of them.
by saying that I think it's reductive, I'm not saying that it's acceptable behavior. I'm just saying that I think it's maybe counterproductive for de-escalating their beliefs.
Oh yeah, like
you
I
know?
should never be saying fuck all of them because that doesn't open much of a dialogue. I'm sick of it.
And I gotta say,
Also very tired.
yeah. Oh well, like any good modern conspiracy, it started with a post on the anonymous image board 4chan. a person who called themselves R, posted a picture of JFK Jr. with Trump. This would soon be known as R-Anon. And then on April 8th of 2018, Q Drop 1082 kicked off life rumors, as well as an attempted addition to the Clinton body count and a potential relationship between Trump and Jr. POTUS and JFK Jr., period. Relationship, period. Plane crash, 1999. HRC, Senate, 2000. The start? Enjoy the show.
Like, it's just fucking nonsensical phrases.
Q.
Okay, so Kennedys were very liberal. Like, we're not talking
yeah.
moderate Democrats. Like,
I don't know. At the time they were, I think now,
yes,
things
right.
would be obviously different.
Well, right. And at the time now, George W. Bush would practically be a Democrat. Okay.
Yeah.
So they were very liberal. There is nothing to suggest that they would have anything to do with this. And also, like, why them? So I started looking into this, and tell me, is this right? This crazy fucking ringleader in Dallas.
Oh, we'll talk about him pretty soon
Protzman?
here. Yeah, we'll get into Protzman at the end. I kind of have this whole thing. I just want to say, if this is chaotic, I wrote about 8 pages stream of conscious about all this. So
There's a lot. Well, that's the problem. This is all.
it's a spiral.
It's like a blood splatter, is what it is.
It is. Q folks went nuts with R-Anon and started baking. One now deleted YouTube channel had an over 30-part series on the JFK Jr. lives theory. Episodes were between an hour 30 to well over 2 hours long. I wish I could watch those.
I want to break down the grammar errors in those.
That's what you do with your baking time instead of trying to figure out what they're talking about. You want to. But Dallas wasn't the first time QAnon believers thought JFK Jr. was scheduled to reappear.
Oh, yeah.
July 4th, 2019, Trump was set to have a rally where he would drop a big bombshell welcoming Jr. to the stage, arresting top Democrats and satanic A-list celebrities, shipping them off to Gitmo where they would obviously be executed.
Clearly.
Yeah. So this is from a great newsletter from Will Sommer at the Daily Beast. In an effort to prepare for a political civil war, QAnon believers have started printing off pictures of JFK Jr.'s face and fashion them to crude masks in an attempt to identify fellow believers when he emerges. QAnon promoters, including Instagram influencer Jennifer Mack, a dietitian who's rebranded as a QAnon believer, which happens surprisingly often.
Dietitians?
Well, these new age health people shift into that very quickly and easily. She started distributing guides for how to make your own JFK Jr. masks. People who are convinced that Kennedy is still alive and living in disguise as a Trump supporter.
Oh, my Lord.
They were encouraged to wear the mask to Trump's July 4th festivities and Trump campaign rallies. On the 4th, JFK Jr. never showed up. Or maybe he did.
Hi, Jennifer Mack here with Be Deliciously Healthy News. The buzz is that JFK Jr. was spotted in disguise as a Vincent Fusca at a Trump rally. At first glance, I just don't see a resemblance, to be honest. However, then again, if I did see a resemblance of JFK Jr., one could accuse him of having a really bad outfit and messy hair. Hence, the point of a disguise. Moving on.
Throughout the run of QAnon, several grifters have come forward claiming to be Jr. The most standout of them is a man named Vincent Fusca. Are you familiar?
No, so he actually says?
As much as he can without coming out and just saying it. Vincent is a Pennsylvania man who had been following Trump around in a, quote, Trump mobile, attending many of his rallies. He's a big fan.
God.
Personally, I think he's just a lonely guy who really likes the attention.
Okay, hold on. Stop. Pause.
Why don't you pull up a picture of Vincent?
Okay, I'm going to pull up a picture of him, but here's the thing that I need to put aside early, because I do think it is important, even if we're not going to try to ostracize these people, I think we need to be very careful about the way in which we discuss them. So there are people who believe weird, crazy things.
Okay.
And then there are people who are anti-Semitic Holocaust deniers.
And we'll talk about one of those later.
And like at this point, the people involved directly in the Dallas situation are following a specifically anti-Semitic.
We'll get to that.
I just want to be like,
I know this is
Okay.
light, but we'll get to that.
Fusca?
Yeah, Fusca. Vinny.
Remarkable likeness.
I mean, so looking at him, I would say in the Q world, he is...
JFK Jr. was hot. I didn't realize
he's
he
a
was that
hunk.
good looking.
One of the more compelling visual figures of the QAnon movement next to the Q shaman. He's always wearing that black hat. I don't know. It's not a fedora, but it's like a business hat.
I think it is a fedora.
Is it a fedora?
Actually.
Sometimes a blazer, and he leans heavily into the conspiracy. He's been seen wearing this George Magazine T-shirt. Are you familiar with that publication?
I mean, yes, but what's the...
So it was actually founded by JFK Jr.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, he's like nodding heavily that he is JFK Jr. and he's well known in that community to be JFK Jr. to that small portion again who believe it.
But wait a second, hold on here. There were 2 Fuscas.
And not 2 Fuscos, but 2 JFK Juniors. There's another fake JFK Jr. that recently...
Jesus fuck. What is going on?
I know, right? Unveiled his face at a QAnon rally called the Forgotten Country Patriot Roundup Double Down, a convention that Kelly wouldn't let me attend in
I
Las
would not.
Vegas. I was ready.
I know you were, and that's what's distressing.
A guy named 107, which is 107 is kind of the play on that. But Juan has been a shadowy Q booster for a while, obscuring his face in videos, only showing his boots, or occasionally his face accidentally because he's a boomer. He stepped onto the stage in those boots for the first time, unveiling his face, wearing a suede jacket and cowboy hat, following Jim Caviezel, who's the special guest at this year's Forgotten Country Patriot Roundup Double Down. He's the man who you would know as playing Jesus Christ in The Passion of the Christ. Yeah, full Q head. Again from Will at the Daily Beast. Much of Savin's power on the right derives from a classic QAnon source. Savin's believers believe he's John F. Kennedy Jr. in disguise. Savin supporters...
He doesn't look like...
Are you looking at Juan?
No, I'm still staring at Fusco. They don't... It's absurd.
Yeah. During the convention, the Patriot Double Down's master of ceremonies posted a facial comparison of JFK Jr. and Savin on Facebook, writing, "Could it be so?" Savin's beliefs are bizarre even by QAnon standards. In his book, Savin writes that Washington, D.C. is laid out for Masonic devil worship, and the Washington Monument meant to resemble the missing penis of an Egyptian god and the State Department's Foggy Bottom location chosen for its spells, rituals, and wizardry. He claims that Dr. Anthony Fauci is making satanic hand signals during press conferences and that the world is run by a cabal of...
Reptilians?
No, we're talking the biblical character Cain. Most importantly to his fans, he insists that the apocalyptic storm promised by QAnon is still coming, even in the face of all the evidence that it's not. He doesn't look much like JFK Jr.
No.
Certainly not as much as Vincent does, who doesn't look like John either.
So can you give me some rough numbers? Like how many people estimated buy into
It's impossible
this?
to know how many people believe in QAnon. It's a small fraction of that.
But how many people are interacting with this?
Well, they're all on Telegram or Gab.
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere near that.
So I watched the Dallas situation unravel on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Frightday. I was following closely 2 streamers who were on the ground in Dallas. One seemed to be pretty well known within the community. Most of the people there had heard about the gathering on Telegram, and this guy's, I think, seemingly pretty popular on there. A handful of people seemed to be excited to see him, and some could even identify him just from his voice. This guy, Patriot Dave.
All right, everyone. We're live at Daily Plaza. I'm kind of on the outskirts, just kind of working my way in. I'll get a view of things I took videos and pictures of yesterday. It's pretty crowded here. We're gonna go.
I hate anybody who
Go down here to
willingly takes on the word
the
patriot as
X
part of their moniker.
Well, I start every Twitch stream with Hello Patriots. I don't know if you're aware of that. It's mostly
Hey, whatever happened to that dude that you were trolling?
he disappeared off the internet.
You chased him away. Did he kill himself?
He just doesn't upload on YouTube anymore.
Huh. You sure he didn't kill himself?
Kill himself and his whole family? I don't know.
Lord.
The other stream was a pretty confusing presence. This guy named Alex Stein from Conspiracy Castle. Type in Conspiracy Castle into YouTube
I feel like
real
that
quick.
was in one of the articles that I was looking at.
Oh, maybe. Click his theme song.
I don't want to.
Click his theme song for me.
Oh my God, why are you making me do this? Primetime number 9, Alex Stein.
Is it?
Damn, Alex Stein, that my nigga. Damn, look at the time. That my nigga. Damn, Alex Stein, that my nigga. He the conspiracy asshole. This nigga asshole.
This is now in my history. Thank you.
Conspiracy castle.
So, a little bit about Alex Stein. He is a younger white man dressed in a suit, oftentimes.
I don't even, I would say younger. I would say middle-aged.
You think so? I guess maybe I'm no longer a younger man.
No, we aren't young anymore.
Oh, damn it. Okay, well, he's got like budget Charlie Kirk energy mixed with a little Steven Crowder, but a lot more desperate. The Conspiracy Castle is a place for truth and exploration of the dark occult symbolism that consumes our everyday life. If you need to laugh before you cry from the trauma-based mind control that the government is using on us, then this is the right place for you. Oh my God. Never heard of this guy before. He's pretty small.
Oh, give him time.
I dug in, and I found out that a week before his live stream, he had lost his mother to complications from COVID-19.
That one.
Which is horrendous. He was doing this stuff before.
So it's not like he has that as an excuse that he fell off the deep end or anything.
No, but this is strange because he's claiming that she died due to bad treatments and that they gave her remdesivir and that killed her.
Interesting.
Which is interesting because remdesivir is the drug that Trump was really pushing hard at the beginning of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the experience that I've been through in the past 2 weeks and losing the person that you love the most is incredibly challenging, to say the least. And it sucks. Sucks really bad. And I wouldn't want this pain on a lot of people that I don't even like. I mean, Hillary Clinton, oh my gosh! How does my mom not outlive Hillary? Oh, it kills me. But what am I going to do? Hillary Clinton haunts us on this earth. That's how you know that we are in hell. That's how you know. When Hillary Clinton is still alive and my mom is gone, my number one fan. Oh, it's such a bummer. I really don't like it. It really is painful. It's unbearable at times. Sometimes it's okay. I know I will be okay. I know eventually. Oh, I'm doing the occultic stuff. This is for all the RV people. I'm just saying. Eventually, I will be totally fine. Right now, my pain level is 10. And that's nothing compared to what my mom went through. Nothing. My mom was slowly murdered, tied to a bed at a hospital, and I had to watch it in slow motion. Doctors not listening to me, killing my mother from a respiratory illness, suffocating to death in slow motion. It was like I was living an actual hell on earth. And, you know, I did ask my mom. People are going to say, oh, my God, you did. I did. I filmed my mom's death. I mean, I wanted to, you know, not her exact last moments because my mom died in my arms. My mom died right in my arms. They took off her mask after heavy morphine and died and went gray in my arms. As I was kissing my mom's dead body, her cheek. Very, very bad.
He also paid the Island Boys to sing a version of their biggest song.
Okay, do you know that I have absolutely avoided...
The Island Boys?
Yeah, other than memes, I have avoided digging any further into them.
Oh, I'm an island boy. I'm an island boy. I'm so sorry about Kelly's skin. I was so sorry about Kelly's skin. You was killed at the Baylor Hospital. Okay, oh, Paul Medical. That is so damn most sad. It should have been better. Wow, it's so damn sad about times. I'ma keep it all P to you. Oh, rest in peace to you. I know it touched everyone's heart. I know it touched everyone's heart. Oh, primetime number 99. Oh, Alex Osteen, go. Yep. I'm so sorry about your mom. I hopefully you pick yourself up. Hopefully you understand. Oh, Kelly Steen, oh yeah. You are the island girl, yeah. Oh, you in heaven, girl, oh yeah. And remembering Kelly Steen. R.I.P. All wishes to y'all, man. We just want to say I'm so sorry due to the poor medical treatment by the nurses and doctors. That's not good. Hey, but the Island Boys are with you at heart.
Ugh.
So that's Alex. I watched him and Dave wander through this modest crowd. It was somewhere between 1 and 250 people, I think. A lot of people inflated it to several hundred. I watched the whole thing, and I didn't see too many people, but they were asking the folks there what they were expecting to see. One woman said, "We have no idea. We're just here on faith, believing."
Faith in what, though?
God, our God King Donald Trump.
God country, King of Kings.
Some were expecting a parade, which I was waiting to see. I was also streaming an EarthCam feed of Dealey Plaza. I didn't see a parade forming. Never came down the street. Some shared that they had seen other celebrities who had faked their deaths, including Robin Williams, Michael Jackson, and one just said a rapper, which came off pretty racist to me.
Come on, racist. What do you mean?
I think it's pretty racist. But
you think they meant Tupac?
Or
they meant
Biggie?
Or
honestly, there's a lot.
Unfortunately, it's a...
I did not get a picture of Dale Earnhardt, but one of my buddies did, and we will we'll post that one when the time is right.
So about an hour later, it started raining, and Patriot Dave's phone got a little too wet, so he called it. Alex Stein, who had convinced 2 preteen boys to be his camera crew for $20, he ended up being hunkered down in a covered area of Dealey Plaza. He called it a day 2. But Anons don't give up that easily. If JFK Jr. wasn't going to come to them, they'd go to him at the Cotton Bowl Stadium, where the Rolling Stones were set to perform that night.
Okay.
From the Gazette. When the Kennedys failed to appear during the Tuesday gathering, some started to posit that the reveal might still happen at a Rolling Stones concert coincidentally happening in the city that evening. When this also didn't happen, QAnon accounts on Telegram and Twitter started to speculate that Keith Richards, was actually the 35th president, which they do. I mean, I guess Keith looks a little bit like Fusca. I don't know.
No.
A little bit.
No, he looks like Jack Sparrow. That's it.
And if the 1993 movie Wayne's World 2 taught the world anything, it's that Keith Richards cannot be killed by conventional weapons.
Oh my God.
A guy named Mike Penny said, "It's a huge act of faith to continue to follow and go see what God is going to do. We have to follow through on what he has brought us together to do." They also apparently think that Mick Jagger was actually Michael Jackson who faked his death.
I don't understand.
Yeah, I know. Later that night,
I don't understand.
I was alerted that Patriot Dave was streaming again because, of course, I subscribed to him and turned on notifications. What started with our Frightday account, what started as an awkward moment of just his face, flipped to blurred sights and muffled sounds of the Rolling Stone boys. It was a video from the nosebleed seats, soon tilted 180 degrees because Dave had started the video vertically and then rotated it. Satisfaction and other hits played for about 9 minutes, and Dave hasn't streamed since, which is kind of interesting. However...
Is he dead?
Patriot Dave? I'm sure he already got COVID at some point. I think he's probably fine. I learned today that these Patriots haven't given up quite yet.
Wait, they're still down there?
Kelly, they are. David Gilbert at Vice News has reported that a rapper known as Prime Minister, that's Prime with a Y.
Yep.
That's my allegiance. Patriot brave, ain't no coward. We look to God for the power. This is our hour. Justice rains down like a shower. COVID-19 in the towers. This is his vengeance. There's no mercy, no repentance.
Had offered up his property outside Dallas as a permanent headquarters, calling it the Promised Land. And from that article, the group led by an anti-Semitic QAnon influencer, Michael Brian Protzman, who's known to followers as Negative 48, has maintained a presence in Dallas since JFK or JFK Jr., either one, failed to appear last Tuesday. Also, it's completely awful that I haven't mentioned a guy named Stephen Monticelli. Stephen, he's an independent journalist from Dallas who basically broke the story assisting the Daily Beast, Rolling Stone, and many other outlets with their coverage. He's an unbelievable Twitter follow. He posts wild pictures as this whole thing was unraveling. On the 6th, he posted an update. The situation with JFK Jr. truthers at Dealey Plaza has, believe it or not, taken an even more bizarre turn.
This is my favorite part. This is my favorite thing that happened the whole
They've
time.
now gathered into a single line and are one by one approaching a man with a bird on his shoulder who appears to be giving them individual directions. This bird guy is Michael Brian Protzman. Back in March, his -48 Telegram channel had about 1,700 members. Today it has 105,000 members. He's a deeply anti-Semitic Holocaust denier, believing Jews created communism and deliberately started both world wars as part of a plot to found Israel by provoking the innocent Nazis who were just defending themselves.
Right, and he actually goes so far as to say there's no such thing as Jewish people.
Yeah, what was his strange belief? It was...
They're actually some other group in disguise.
Yeah, I saw that, didn't want to dig into another thing.
He believes that the Kennedys are descended from Christ himself.
Yes, he does believe that.
I do know that.
And he also believes in some sort of bastardized version of numerology known as gematria.
I think it has its roots in Judaism, which is ironic.
Well, it started as a Jewish system of assigning a numerical value to a name, word, or phrase based on the letters used and inferring some sort of spiritual or mystical meaning behind the phrase. Yeah, I don't know how much you want to get into that. I don't think it's super necessary in context with all this. Let's just say he's fucking crazy and control of all of the QAnon followers currently at Dealey Plaza. I don't know. Is there more you want to talk about?
No,
with him?
I think the idea of people lining up and getting directions from him.
Horrifying.
The whole thing is insane. Like, literally, okay?
He says that type O blood is a marker for the Christ bloodline. That's interesting.
Yep, and JFK and Jackie are the physical second incarnation of Jesus and Mary Magdalene.
Yeah.
JFK Jr. is the Archangel Michael.
Okay.
And Trump is, wait for it, the Holy fucking Spirit.
I love it. That's so awful. So the folks who remain at Dealey, at some point after they did the line, they formed the shape of a large Q that could be seen on that Earth cam. I bet there will be pictures in the show notes of that.
Oh my God,
And today, which is the 9th, a group of around 30 were seen huddled and swaying, singing
I know, because I love singing the song with my girls.
a rendition of Take Me Home, Country Roads. Replacing the words West Virginia with Dealey Plaza.
West Virginia.
So
Dealey Plaza.
It's
so bad.
I don't know when this is going to end. I don't see...
Like, I had to spend 10 minutes talking my dad into the fact that this was real and this wasn't an Onion article. Like, that this was a thing that was actually happening.
It's too dumb for an Onion.
He refused to believe me. Finally, when I sent him stuff that he could read up on, he's like, how?
So I have 130,000 airline miles, and I gotta tell you, I was really close to hopping a flight to Dallas. Like, the day it started, they dispersed when the rain happened.
I'm so fucking glad you
But
didn't
they're
go.
back, Kelly. It's
No,
been a
don't
week.
go.
It's been a whole week. Well, obviously it's too
don't go.
late. It's
Don't
too late
go.
at this point, but
Can't go.
this is crazy.
I want to know, literally, because you've been following these people at a much closer proximity. When does it end? What's the end point here?
The game is pushing the goalpost back. The faith will never be lost, and when it does get lost, it's replaced by more people who are fresh, you know? And since the QAnon conspiracy is so wide and vast in their beliefs, I don't see their impact or influence ever dissipating to a point that'll ever, it's not going to go away. It will not end.
You don't think it's ever going away? Do you foresee the numbers continuing to grow?
I don't
What
know.
kind of growth are we talking about? Could you do a model for me? Some type of a mathematical model? Are we talking exponential? Are we talking something more akin to linear?
So it's hard because, I went undercover as a QAnon believer on Twitter for a long time. Red Pilgrim was my screen name. I was a very conservative Christian young lady in an attempt to gain traction in that community.
You're such a fucking psychopath.
Yeah, when you say it out loud, it does really, yeah. But there's some sort of study that said after certain hashtags and prominent figures within the belief were deplatformed from Twitter, that their influence and the spread of it slowed dramatically.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think that deplatforming is an incredible tactic when it comes to battling disinformation. It's a great power and a great responsibility that these companies have. But then there's companies like Telegram. There's apps like Telegram, or even more explicitly right-wing social media platforms like Gitter or Gab, or the upcoming Truth Social, I think it's called, where this stuff is just going to run rampant. So as long as they have a place to communicate with each other, I don't see the numbers going down anytime soon, especially with the upcoming elections and the potential run of Donald Trump in 2024. So Did I scare you?
No, you didn't scare me. It's what happened was this whole situation led to a discussion with a very close family friend who didn't understand what Q was at all. Very surface level discussion of it. And in this discussion, I just really started realizing like, wow, this is terrifying. Yeah. Like thinking about it from a Martian's perspective again, right? Because it was, trying to explain it from square one, and it's growing.
You think it's growing, or is it just becoming more?
You know what I feel like is growing is the idea that people are becoming more and more comfortable with the absence of objective reality, and that is so frightening
where that
to
came
me.
From, though? Fake news. That's where it started.
Yeah, that's true. But fake news, though I agree, is the source point. We're now at a place that it sounds ridiculous, but I don't think we're too far off from saying maybe the earth doesn't revolve around the sun. Maybe the sun revolves around the earth. Like, I feel like we're regressing because once you let go of the existence of objective truth, I feel like nothing is off the table.
And when those types of people come into power.
Right, but I mean, like, this is a perfect example. This is laughably absurd. Parts of it are laughably absurd. Parts of it are like, holy shit.
Dangerous.
Terrifyingly dangerous.
Yeah.
The anti-Semitic messages that are being...
Well, I don't know if you're familiar with Ghost Ezra. It's all the same. Like, Ghost Ezra is another prominent Telegram
I stay
person.
the fuck away from all of these things.
They're all horribly anti-Semitic. I think the anti-Semitism inside that movement is growing, and then they lie about it. They veil it.
Well, you know what's really weird, too, is I'm starting to feel more and more like I have been completely ignorant to how much anti-Semitic subtext there is
in everything.
In everything.
Yeah. I mean, it goes back to the protocols of the Elders of Zion.
And I don't know what that is,
It's a written account of a fictional meeting between Jewish leaders discussing their plan for global domination. But it was fake.
And like even in our little hometown, I'm starting to hear more and more stories about, it's an incredibly tiny Jewish population here, but kids who are recognized as Jewish basically getting the kind of interaction that you might think only happens in a poorly scripted made-for-TV movie, but actually is happening. It's just very scary. And yeah, this whole idea where reality is no longer a thing, that just scares me.
Well, what should really scare you is the number of QAnon people running for Congress. I mean, it was 36 ran, and a handful of them.
How many of them did win?
Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene years ago, but I'm not certain how many won. The message that you keep hearing at these gatherings is telling the attendees to run for local government. That's what you need to be afraid of.
Like in our own hometown.
Well, yeah. Or
you do know that crazy fucking bitch is running, right?
Which one? You can say it. What do you mean?
I can't say that name.
What is it? Why?
Because I don't want any information about her going out. I don't want her to get any more attention.
Oh, okay. I I don't know these people.
She's the one, like, okay, at Cross Points Church last week where you saw what happened, didn't you?
No, I don't know
Okay,
anything
so
about
Byron, this is weird because this is what's happening locally. So locally, our state superintendent of public instruction, okay, so the person in charge of public schools for the whole state,
okay,
joined a group of about 80 anti-mask, anti-vaccine, pro-violence individuals at a evangelical church in town called Cross Points Church.
Familiar with it, yeah.
And
That's
a
where
lawyer...
I go. I'm actually a youth pastor.
Yeah, you're a youth pastor there. So a lawyer got up and advocated for verbatim shooting local superintendents.
All right.
And our superintendent of public instruction for the whole state was on stage telling parents they need to rise up, resist mask mandates, and not get their kids vaccinated. Okay, so that's what's happening like 10 miles from here. And the woman that organized that whole fucking shit show is now running for school board.
This is just a broad airing of grievances at this point. I completely understand.
All of it stems from this shit, though. It's this idea that, I've
been watching school board meeting freak out videos for the past 2 months.
I know, but when they're local,
it's horrifying. But we're in Montana. When I was watching Mike Lindell's Cyber Symposium, and a handful of Montana representatives, including ones that directly represent you where you are, were there joining, I guess, pledging to support an election integrity commission.
I know.
But we can hope that social media companies cracking down will eventually.
Honestly, I think the only thing that could save us at this point is if social media burns to the ground. Like literally all of it is deleted.
I'd be fine
and gone.
with it at this point.
I would be great with it. It's the only way I'm going to save my fucking daughters, that's for sure.
Well, they're not allowed on.
Ever.
I mean, I do sell a pin that says sign out at byronmckoy.co now. It's a fun little item.
Ooh.
The only thing...
I might just go all in and buy you out.
And start handing them out to people. The only thing that could save us now, Kelly, and I truly believe this, is if JFK Jr. showed up to unite us all and to put all those fucking scumbags in Gitmo.
Yeah.
Let's start the tribunals. Let's get this over with. And speaking of over with, that's this episode. Wow.
I'm so depressed right now.
I'm so sorry. And you saying out loud how depressed you are makes me really rethink the amount of time I put into this. I took a break for like a month, and I come back. Everyone's still alive and kicking. So let's hear what you think.
I think we need to permanently
I'm heading
remove
to the
ourselves.
Next convention. Your Patreon dollars are getting me there, guys. So
no, they aren't.
It'll be great. We're gonna have a good time. I'll get some on the ground interviews, and I'll also get COVID. So that's pretty cool. Let's sound off in the comments down below, folks. And I gotta say, society members, thank you so much for your support. Kelly, don't look so sad.
I'm gonna have to stay up for another 3 hours Christmas shopping just to make myself feel less depressed.
Oh no. Well, in the comments, why don't you leave Kelly some gift ideas for her family? That might be nice, right? Until next episode of Behind the Screams. I'll see you.
Ciao.
Well, here's the facts. The models that said that 2.2 million Americans would die from COVID-19, those models were false. Those PCR tests are falsely calibrated to inflate the number of positive COVID-19 cases. And COVID-19 is 100% treatable using budesonide, ivermectin, and hydroxychloroquine. And ladies and gentlemen, those COVID-19 shots were actually patented before COVID-19 was a thing. Those COVID-19 shots, COVID-19 stands for Certificate of Vaccination ID AI. Look it up. Ladies and gentlemen, now's the time to repent and to ask Jesus Christ to become your Lord and Savior.
You've been listening to an Audio Wall original, produced by Byron McKoy, theme music provided by Cemeteries. For more programs like this, visit audiowall.co.